we're going to move on to block 11, which is the flowered roundabout. So you should have a main and a lining cut out of your fabric, and then you should have some lovely little flowers. You should have 5 actually, to be exact, 5 flowers. Okay, so what we're going to do is place all 5 of our flowers so we can peel the backings off. We're going to place these on spare fabric, glue it down, so the flowers are going to be double-sided. So grab this spare fabric and go ahead and place that on and iron it. This is going to get us to have some nice double-sided flowers. Okay, repeat that for the other colors of flowers you have. And we're going to stitch around the flowers, and then we're going to cut them out. All right, once you have adhered the flowers and stitched around them, you can cut them out so they're double-sided. Okay, so we should have 5 double-sided flowers. Okay, if you are going to be attaching your flowers with a buttonhole and a button, then you will want to sew the button on and sew the buttonhole. If you're using snaps, grab your snapping kit and your pliers and your little pokey tool. I know that's very official sounding. And decide, what colored centers you want to use for your flowers. And you're going to attach the different ends to the fabric. So we want the male ends, which are the parts that bump out. Those should be facing down on the back of the flower. So to do this, you would poke a hole. If you've never used the snapping kit before, snapping tools, you would take the nice, pretty side of the snap, push it through fabric, and then put the male end up and cup it into your snapping plier, and then push it down, and there you go. And then you're going to put the other end, so the opposite piece, the female end, which is kind of indented, that's going to go down wherever you want it to go on the fabric. So you poke it through, the flat part of the snap will go down, and then that will go on top. You use your tool to push it down, and now you can snap the little buttons on and off in your roundabout. So repeat that process for all of your flowers. Okay, I've just finished adding all of my snaps. So you can see the flowers are removable, and you can put them in different orders, wherever you want them to go. How fun is that? We've made it to block 12, yay! This is the campsite. So make sure you have all of your pieces and everything cut out, your main and your lining fabric. and then all of the pieces. So we can peel the backing on everything except for the bear. So we'll set our bear pieces aside for now. The first thing we will have to do is decide on where we want the tent to go. Okay, so once we've decided where we want the tent and the trees and everything to go, then we can stitch the tent, the main tent piece in place. I'm still peeling backing off here, if you haven't noticed. So I'm gonna take my tent may go a little bit different, may go in a different spot than what we have in the diagram, and that's okay. Just want to make sure you have enough room for your trees and everything. You want to just make sure you leave room for the campsite, or for the campfire. So just laying everything out is not a bad thing. Okay, once you're happy, go ahead and press the tent down. You can also press the tree stumps down so we don't lose the placement of those if we want to. You know what? I didn't even take the backing off. Okay, let's do that now. Now we can stitch this down and we can stitch our tree stumps down. Okay, so next thing that we want to do is place the tent door onto some spare fabric, and we're going to glue it down. We don't need to stitch it after we've glued it. I'm just going to cut it out so we have one large tent door piece. Once we've done that, we are going to fold the tent door approximately in half vertically, like the way that it's shown on the thing that you printed out. So if you need to use this to line it up, you can totally do that. It's gonna go like that. Press with your fingers to create a fold line, and then we're gonna cut down that fold line. And you can also just check to make sure we have it right. Okay, now we're going to stitch around each tent door piece. So let's do that now. After stitching, you can trim this down, the tent sides. And we're gonna butt the tent door pieces up against the tent, and we're gonna stitch in place. So we're gonna just push this over here, and then we're gonna stitch in place using about a 1/4 inch wide rectangle around each tent flap. Okay, we have a little tent that flaps open. Now, if you haven't stitched your tree stumps down, do that now. And next we're going to stitch the trees. We're gonna glue them and then stitch them. So get them all lined up where you want them to go. All right, now stitch around each tree. We now have all of our trees stitched down. The next thing you're going to do is grab those logs for the fire, and we're gonna get them placed. So peel off the backing if you haven't already, and stick the fire down where you think you want it to go. First things first though, glue one log in place and then stitch. So once you've glued that first log down, go ahead and stitch that log. Place the next log down and glue it into place. And then stitch it down as well. Next, you're going to stitch and glue the fire down in place. So stick the fire. Let's glue it. And then glue the second part of the fire down. And then you're going to stitch around both the small and the big fire pieces. Then we're going to move on to the bear. The fire and everything is now stitched down. The next thing we need to do is take care of our bear. So let's remove the backing from his belly and his face, and we're going to get those down. If you want the bear to be able to stick to other felt items, then you know the drill. Cut a little piece of hook and loop tape, take a backing, stitch that on, and then we're gonna glue him down and make him double-sided. So I've got this Velcro piece. Now I'm gonna peel the backing off of my bear, and I can glue this down. And the next thing we would do is stitch around the bear and then cut him out. Stitch the bear, and now we just need to trim around him. Okay, you have a double-sided bear, and now you can just go ahead and add your little embroidery pieces so he has eyes, and then we're all done. Our bear is done, and now he's movable. You can move him anywhere. That completes block 12.